Welcome to our Gemara Shiur, Gemara Straight and Simple. Maseches Shabbos, Daf Kuf Mem Beis Amud Beis. We are recapping in the Mishnah, Kuf Mem Beis Amud Beis, the Mishnah at the top of the page, and basically we are learning about muktzeh. Today we're going to learn that even when one's allowed to move muktzeh, for example, for reason of Tiltul Min Hatzad, there are levels to the heter. In other words, there's something that's allowed, and there's something that is super allowed. Yeah, some things are allowed l'chatchila when it comes to moving muktzeh. Some things are a bit more b'diavad. There are different levels to the heterim themselves. And this year, like always, is Louis Nishmas, my father Menachem and Akiva Zatzal, and for the release of all the hostages, and all the soldiers should come back b'shalom, and we should see the Geula Shlema. Now, okay, we'll start the Mishnah again. Says the Mishnah, Haven shall be a chovis. One has a barrel, the person has a barrel of wine, and on top of the barrel there is a stone. Ha'even shal pi hachovis, stone, as we know, is muktzeh, absolutely muktzeh machmas gufoi. The stone is on top of the chovis. Mate al tzida vehi noifelis. What should a person do? He wants the wine on Shabbos. He cannot pick up the stone because that's muktzeh. He can't pick it up by a dime. So what should he do? He should do a form of tiltul min hatzad. Matel tzida, tilt the entire chovis, the barrel, and then the stone's gonna fall. Good, and then stone's falling, and indirectly you move the muktzeh, and that's fine. Hoiso bein ha-chaviyos. However, if the barrel was there standing amongst other chaviyos, other barrels, then magbia, you cannot tilt the chovis because then the stone's going to fall on another chovis. The stone's going to destroy your other chavios. So then what do? Then the heter of tiltul min hatzad, that heter of an indirect tiltul, goes even further. Magbia, you pick up the chavis with the stone on top of it. Umatal tzida v'inofeles. And then magbia, and you, what's matal tzida? You pick it up, you take it out of the entire area with the chavios, the danger zone, because you don't want the stone to fall on them. So you pick up the chavis with the stone on it, take it away while the stone is on the chavis that you are moving. I'm stressing this. And then you tilt it over there outside the chavios, and then it falls, the stone, and then it's okay. We're going to explain this in the Gemara, but actually I'll explain it already now. You basically, both cases are called Tiltul Min Hatzad. Neither of the cases I'm really moving the stone directly, right? I'm not picking up the stone in my own hands. However, the first tiltul is more indirect, meaning when I just take the chavis and I tilt it and the stone falls, yeah, it's more like a domino effect, more like a ripple effect. Mashain, it's less direct, as we'll explain. When you pick up the chavis and the stone is on it, each and every movement of my body, of my hands, the stone's moving as well. As Rashi says here, and Rashi says a similar idea, Daf Kuf Kav Gimel, Min HaShamayim, I saw it today with the Talmud. When you pick up, yeah, let's say that's a barrel, that's a stone. As I'm picking it up, let's say that's a barrel, and this is the stone on top. It fell. So if I'm picking this, look, every motion, I'm moving into the other room, I'm moving it 2 miles away. As I'm moving this, the other one's moving as well. Each and every motion, up and down, sideways. Yeah, so that's more direct. But Shankin, when I go like this, when I just drop it, then it's less directly connected to my motion. So although both are tilted min hatzad, the one that's better is the one where just tilt it and it falls, slides off by itself. And therefore, the ideal way is to make it slide. If there's no choice, then you mamish move the whole thing together, take it whichever way, and then take it out there. A similar case, second case of the Mishnah, Mois Shalakal. Mois Shalakal, you have money on the pillow, you want to go to sleep on Shabbos, you want to go to sleep on Shabbos, what's on the pillow? Money, coins. What are the coins doing there? Let's say the coins were not put there on purpose. Otherwise it would be bossis. What are the coins doing there? You forgot them there. then you slide them off, menair, you shake the pillow, and they fall. And the Brisa will tell us later that by car, also by pillow, there is a case in which you can take it with the money and move the money away with it. Also, the end of the Mishnah is to do with kibbutz, and we explained it yesterday. If there's dirt on the real disgusting dirt on the pillow, how do you clean it on Shabbos? You can't just clean fabric on Shabbos. If the pillow is made out of fabric, cloth, textile, most of them are today too, then don't use water. You should never ever use water in order to clean dirt on Shabbos from clothes. That's Isur Doraisa. You wipe it with a smartut, with a shmata, dry one. If the pillow is made out of leather, soft leather, then kibbutz does apply, and you can't really clean it with rubbing and scrubbing and scraping, but you can put water until the dirt goes away from the stream of water that you squint on it. Why? Because when it comes to cleaning leather, then water is not considered to be cleaning the leather midoraisa. It's not an isod kibbutz libun on leather, because leather is not as susceptible to water as fabrics are. Okay, now says the Gemara. So today we're going to learn, as we said, about a few things, bossis, and also about tiltul min hatzad. Oops, a lot of you saw this to do with muktzeh. Omar Rav Huna Omar Rav. Lo ishanu ela b'shocheach. First of all, the whole concept, you can move the chavis. Who said you can move the chavis? Yeah, you're moving the chavis and not the stone. Thank you very much. But the chavis itself is hosting, is the basis for the stone. If the stone was forgotten on the chavis, on the barrel, then it's not called bossis. Bossis is not when I forgot it before Shabbos. Yeah, if it happens to be there, bossis needs to be a good shidduch between the bossis and the muktzeh. I just happened to forget the stone on the chavis. I'm not interested in being there. Then it's not considered bossis, and that's what the Mishnah spoke about. I can move the chavis. Aval b'meniach nas bossis u'davar asur. If you placed it there on purpose, you place the even, the stone, on the barrel because you want to, but the stone is not a proper kisui. You didn't designate it to be a kisui. It's still just a stone. You didn't make it into a kli. That's what I'm saying. But you wanted it to be there for whichever reason. I don't know. You want to take the rock and afterwards throw it on the cat. I don't know. That's bothering you. I don't know what. So then you want it to be there, but dafka, the stone, which is muktzeh, then the underneath part, which is the chavis, is a basis and it's osur, and then you cannot move the barrel either. That's halacha. Can't move the barrel. Also ben achaviyos. This piece of Gemara has one of those svaras that we got to tap into, got to understand. Before I continue, before I even start, took me a long time to have what's going on here. I mean, the pshat is easy, but the svara is not so much. So there is a Tosfos Reed. He's the one that helped me the most over here. There's also Tosfos, which I didn't have so much. I mean, I prefer, I think it's, for purpose of sheer, easier to understand Tosfos Reed. Tosfos Reed wants to say that as opposed to the way we understand, and as opposed to halacha l'maisa, there is a tzad, and the Chazon Ish explains the Tosfos Reed. There is a tzad to say that you're allowed to move the stone itself, beyadayim, from the chavis, because in order to get to approach food, you're allowed to move away muktzeh that's on the food. Chazon Ish, I think, defines it as a certain agos of the Tosfos Reed, defines it, I'm not moving muktzeh, I'm getting to the food. It's like removing the wrapper from the sweet. I'm on my way to the food, and that's the definition here. That's the approach. I'm just getting the food, and I'm not trying to move muktzeh as of itself. And therefore, even beyadayim, just accept it as a tzad, yeah? Even beyadayim, you can say, there's a Gemara here if you want. There's a Gemara here. Yeah. Okay, 1 second. Excuse me. It's a home share today. So now let's accept this at least as a tzad, okay? You're allowed to move the muktzeh. I don't know, it doesn't sound like that, right? Still, we said that the Mishnah said, right, that even though you're allowed to remove the actual stone with your own hands, because you're just coming to reach the food, The Mishnah didn't say it, right? The Mishnah still said to tilt the all. And that's exactly the question. Says the Gemara, Man Tana, who is the Tana that believes the kol heicha deika isura ve'etera, be'etera tarchinan b'isura lo tarchinan, which means, who is the Tana that says that whenever I'm allowed to move, an usur item and a heter item, I should still prefer to move the heter and not the isur. Especially tarchinan. We'll see why tarchinan is mentioned to work. In other words, it's true. Me'ikra din, I can move the stone, or I can just move the chovis. Who is the Tana that says that even if I'm allowed to move the isur, the stone, I should still preferable to move the heter? Still preferable. Who's the one who says that? Omar Rabba Bar Bar Chana, Omar B'Yochanan. Why does it say tarchinan, which means to work hard? That will be explained later. Omar Rabba Bar Chana, Omar B'Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. The Tana that believes that even when it's okay to move the muktzeh, the forbidden one, the bad one, even when it's allowed, you should still preferably move the mutter, the good non-muktzeh, is Oshbag, Ditnan. It says in the Mishnah in Beitza Daf Yudalid, and that is about Boirel and Yom Tov. אפשר להיכנס, פתוח. הבוירר קיטניס ביום טוב. A person who's boirer kidneys, legumes, is boirer beans, let's say, on Yom Tov. Is boirer allowed in Yom Tov? That's a good question. Many people don't know. About kidneys by Yom Tov, depends who you ask. B'Shamai say, boirer oichel v'oichel. B'Shamai, without going into details, the pashtus of B'Shamai, it's not 100% true, but generally speaking, B'Shamai believe, just like Shabbos. Just like on Shabbos, you're supposed to take the good out of the bed, and not the bad out of the good. Every child knows that, right? So to in Yom Tov, you're allowed to take the good out of the bed, but you're not allowed to take the psalus from the oichel. Let's assume B'Shamai, which we're not focusing on right now, they say boirer is also in Yom Tov. Here fun starts with Basila. Basila Amrim, boirer kedarkoi, becheko betamchui. What's kedarkoi? What's a normal way of breira, which we learned in Dafa in Daled? That is psalus out of the oichel. The reason why oichel out of the pillars is allowed, because the normal way of breira, when you have a fair amount of food and a little bit of dirt, dust, bad stuff, junk, insects, you take out the psalus. But Shammai say, when you have, let's say, the Gemara there talks about the Rishon about afruris, you have the kidneys, and you have all kinds of dirt, little stones, pebbles, all kinds of guki, yachi, and those guki things, you're allowed to move them psolis out of ochel, which is not allowed on Shabbos, right? You're allowed to do that, kederach breira, because it's what? Last time I checked, breira is what? Ochel nefesh. It's one of the first malachas before Elisha. Now, wait a second. Now, only cheko v'tamchui, why? Why can you only do it in your own bosom, in your own beged, or with a tamchui, with a pot? Why can't you use B'Shamai say over there, B'Silil say over there, you can't use a proper sieve? Because if you use a sieve on Yom Tov, it looks like if you're doing it for a long time. And that's not allowed. You're not allowed to do it for Yom Tov. But let's leave that aside. The main point is, again, let's focus now, let's not lose sight. B'Silil believe, Begadol, that Baruch does not apply in Yom Tov, and you're allowed to take the bad out of the good. Bingo, enjoy your gefilte fish and your real fish, or your carp fish on Yom Tov. And yet, Vitanya comes the brisa to qualify Beis Hillel. You know when Beis Hillel are saying what they're saying, they can take psoilus, you can take the dirt, the bad out of the good. It's not always true. You know when it's true? It's only true when there's more food than psoilus, which means when the psoilus is a small amount, then you can take what? The psoilus. Why? Well, one reason is tircha. Oh, now you tap into tarchinan. In other words, if it's 60% food, 40% psoilus, they have less work with working with the psoilus, right? So I take out the psoilus not to be toreach on Yom Tov. Aval psoilus merubah la'oichel. But when you have the psoilus more than the ochel, when the psoilus, the bad stuff, the garbage, refuse is more than the oichel, 60% psoilus, 40% ochel, divrei hakol bar oichel. Everyone agrees, namely also Beis Hillel, you take out the oichel. What does that have to do with ours? I'll tell you what. Let me ask you a question. What would be the halacha that I have to thank the Dirshu booklet that said the brought down Achronim? What would be if it's 50-50? Let's you have 50% oichel, 50% psoilus. Well, the tircha is the same. It's mashma from the way the Gemara presents the question that then you'd prefer touching the oichel, not the psoilus. Why? What? Because it's more beheta, but okay, but it's yes mutter to take psoilus out when it's the minority. But when you don't have a reason of tircha, when tircha is the same, you prefer dealing, touching with what's allowed than one that's not allowed. Because psoilus is also muktzeh. Maybe you allow it because of oichel nefesh, yeah? But lemaisa, because psoilus is muktzeh, when otherwise it's the same tircha-wise, then I should move, touch, deal with the oichel, not with the psoilus. Go! And that's exactly Reb Shimon Gamliel over here is the same as our Tana by us, meaning when you have the even, the stone on the barrel, even though we saw in the Tosfos Reed in the question that me'ikar hadin, you're allowed to take the stone, it's still preferable to take the chavis and move the chavis and not the stone itself. When you can deal with non-muktzeh, even though the muktzeh is allowed, it's still better not to do it. It's better to deal with the psoilus. Well, with oichel, which here is the chavis, and there is the good, the beans, the kidneys. That's understanding. We prefer dealing with the oichel, not with the psoilus, with the non-muktzeh rather than the muktzeh. Now, frag the Gemara, wait. As the Gemara, not true. But what about tircha? Tircha here is the other way around. Even if you say your interesting idea of when they're both equal, but what were the words of Rashbag? Tircha, fact the Gemara, meaning we're trying to minimize work on Shabbos and Yom Tov. We don't want to work hard on Shabbos and Yom Tov. The halacha over here, the ki oichel merubah lepsonis dami question, which means, look at what's going on over here tircha-wise. You tell me, it's easier to take the stone, finished, boom, bam, take the stone out, right? Yeah, and just remove it, or take the barrel. Bear in mind, what happens when you have the barrel when it's amongst the other barrels? You have to schlep the whole barrel. That's tircha into the side, right? Then tilt it and then pour out the wine. Much more tircha, much more tircha. So that shouldn't be allowed, right? Meaning it's not like a 50-50%. It's like oichel merubah psoilus, where what do you take? You should take the psoilus. So too over here, taking the stone, just removing that one silly stone off is much, much, much easier than taking the entire barrel. So tircha-wise, if you would dafka want to compare it to that story of Borer, then we should dafka, yes, allow you to take out the stone, remove the stone, take it down, put it on the floor and finished. Much less tircha. And we don't say that. Why? Answers the Gemara, Hochanami. Not true. Surprisingly, here, when you have, it's surprisingly, as the Gemara will explain, to take out the barrel into the side corner and move it over there is less tircha. How come? Kevin the Baila Mishkal, if he wants to take all the wine, let's say you want to empty the entire barrel from all the wine that's in it. The guy is hosting a big party. He has a drinking issue. Yeah, he wants to take everything. Lo mishtaki yain ad shokilo. We don't say le'even, by the way. You can't take out all the wine until you take the chavis. Let me explain. If I have the chavis full of wine and I want to take all the wine all the way down, right? Then I can't leave it amongst the other chavios and tilt it and take and pour the wine. That's okay for the upper layer of wine. But if I want to take out all the wine, I have to pick up all the chovis, the entire chovis, and move it to the side. Even if my name was Tim McKenzie or Bruce McKinley, I would also have done the same. Technically speaking, right? I have to pick up the chovis because I need all of it, take it to the corner when it's not stuck, claustrophobically between all the other chavios, pour out all the wine, right? And then bring it back. So anyhow, I'm saving you the trip. In other words, here halacha is anyway against tircha. Why? Because if you want to tell me you take out the wine, take out the stone, remove the stone, take out a little bit of wine, and then afterwards, when you want more wine, you'll only have to pick up the chavis again. So I saved you, and I told you, okay, just take it once, take out, tilt it, drop the problematic stone, and empty the entire wine. You could argue what happens if the guy wants only half the wine. I don't know. But Lemaisa, since in many cases you want to take out the entire wine, Mimela, it's not called that you're adding tircha. Now, by the way, this is all very nice in Gemara level, in shall I say theory. Halacha lemaisa, it's not true. I checked it 3 times in halacha just to make sure that what I know I remember a little bit, and that is no, not true. Halacha, not allowed to move the stone. No way. La halacha, you can want as much wine as you want to drink. A gezun teheid, make a l'chaim, very nice of simches. You cannot take the stone with your hand. I'm not la halacha, not shulchan aruch, not mishnah berurah, not as far as I know. And what is the halacha saying? Halacha says, as we said here, what's halacha? Basically, very, very simple. If the barrel is not standing amongst other barrels, then the tiltul min hatzad that's preferable is the better tiltul min hatzad. We explained before you came. That tiltul min hatzad is more indirect. I'm just moving it and it's sliding off. Finished. Yeah, that's lechatchila. Don't move the chavis. Don't pick up the chavis. You only pick up the chavis, which is a worse type of tiltul min hatzad. It's an allowed tiltul min hatzad, but it's a little bit worse. Why? Because as I'm moving the chavis up, down, sideways, and I start traveling with it, I don't know, 1 kilometer away, as I'm traveling, the chavis, the even, the stone that's on the chavis, is moved with my own motion. Yeah? It's not like dropping to the side. I'm moving it up, moving inside, moving. Everywhere I move, the stone is moving with me, like a shadow. That's min hatzad because I'm not touching it, but it's still more directly affected by my motion. And therefore, such tiltul min hatzad you only allow when there is no other choice, because the other barrels are going to break from the stone. That's halacha l'maisa. I mean, I'm not a particle halacha, but that's what Shulchan Aruch. Again? Where do you see machzah? We're not there right now. Maybe after Shir I'll talk about it, okay? We are now in Kuf Beis, Omud Beis, in the first wide line. If the chavis was sitting, located in an oitza, in a winery or in the wine cellar with other wine barrels around it, or you have delicate glass vessels underneath, right next to it. If you drop the stone there, boom, you're going to hit someone, you're going to hit a kli. You don't want to lose those kelim. Then we allow you to do the worst type of tiltul min hatzad. You take it to a different place. There in the other place, far away from the other delicate kelim, you then matal tzida, you tilt it to the side, you let the stone drop. Then you take what you need from the barrel and you put it back in the place. What's the chiddush of this brisa? The chiddush brisa didn't say anything new. So I looked in the Korban Nesanel, the Korban which I looked last time when I learned it last time. Korban Nesanel says the chiddush is in other words, you can't take it to room 1, and then take it back to room 2. You have to take it straight away because it's limited, the tiltul. Do it right away. In other words, everyone should see it, should be very clear. I moved it, let's say, from the wine barrel to the kitchen. In the kitchen is where I have to straight away drop it, right? Shouldn't start traveling with all over the world. And then muktzeh l'makom straight away. Yeah, like minimize it. Take it where you need, right there and then drop the stone, take out the wine, muktzeh l'makom. But don't extend the carrying. Makes sense. Don't carry min hatzad stam.
If the stone fell off, then why do we care what I want to minimize the carrying after that?
No, after that, not minimize before that. Minimize the carrying before the stone dropped. It says. No, that's a diuk, sorry. Straight away. Take what you need right there and then. Also, it should be seen. Some people understand the Korban Nesanel. That's what I explained it also in the Mesivta, not Mesivta, whatever the other one. That when it should be visible, should be noticeable yeah, that I drop it and I take the wine straight away. So they know that I dropped the stone, in order to take the wine. Everything should be minimized. Mois shalakar. Oh, that's the second case of the Mishnah. Amar b'chir b'rashi Amar Rav. Lo shonu ela b'shocheach. When am I allowed to remove the money, not remove biyadayim, to tilt the pillow and let the coins slide? If I forgot the coins on the pillow, usually that would be the case. People don't put money on the pillow. You forgot it there. Yeah, you went back from the mikveh, you had some change from the mikveh, and you dropped it on the car. Oh, Shabbos Kodesh, Leil Shabbos, Mazel Tov. Aval b'meniach, if you place the coins dafka on the pillow, maybe it's a segula to become rich. I don't know. If you put the money on the pillow, but dafka b'chavana, that's basas davar. Then the pillow itself becomes basas davar the entire Shabbos, because it was there when Shabbos came in, and then the pillow itself is muktzeh. No one can move it. No tilting, no schmilting. The pillow itself is muktzeh. And this is what we learned before. When are we limiting the movement of the car, of the pillow, and say you should tilt it and shake it right there and then, and the money is going to fall on the floor? If you need the body of the pillow to sleep on, you need a clear pillow, you need the money out, check them out, but don't take them. Don't take the pillow and start doing the worst type of, right, of Tiltul Min Hatzad. Don't start moving the pillow up and down and here and there, right? Yeah, the same concept all the time. You hear what I'm saying? Let's say I prefer moving the pillow from my bed and moving and shaking the mice in my office, right? Into my office. I don't have one, don't worry, yeah? Together with the other 10 million over there in cash. So that I shouldn't do. Why? Because you prefer, obviously, as we said, to do Tiltul Min Hatzad in the more minimal form of just shaking without moving, right? Aval, when is there a case where I am allowed to do the worst kind of Tiltul Min Hatzad, of yes, moving back and forth, up and down? Let's say I need the place of the pillow. I don't need the pillow itself. I'm not going to sleep now. I need the mattress under the pillow or the chair under the pillow. That's what I need. So I need the pillow out of there. Yeah, I don't need the coins to be out. I need the whole pillow to be out. Then metatel avoidon olo. Very good. Then Chachomim would allow you a bit more to do the worst type of tiltul min hatzad, and you're allowed to carry the whole pillow with the money on it. Put it wherever you want, even though it's mamish, your motion is moving the moise, and then you have the clear space because no other choice. I need the space. So then I'm allowed to move the pillow from the space, move it away. We have a support from Rav Midifti, the Heilige. He says the same thing. Oh, here comes fascinating stuff. And let us test our memory. What happened when King David HaMelech, when he was nifter, what happened? Which day of the week it was? It was on Saturday. It was on Shabbos Kodesh. And David HaMelech died on Shabbos, and Shlomo HaMelech didn't know what to do because it was the body of David HaMelech, and it was bizoyan, it was hot, and the sun was scorching on his face. What happens then? They allowed him to take kikar oitinoik. They allowed Shlomo HaMelech to take either a loaf of bread or a baby. According to most Rishonim, except for Tosasrid, maybe somebody else, it can be any object, any valuable non-muktzeh. They placed it on David HaMelech's body, and then they took him out, which means that we see there is a kula sometimes to move muktzeh if you create the opposite of basis. Yeah, in other words, the muktzeh is the basis leheter, right? The mace, the dead corpse, is a basis to something valuable and mutter. Then you're allowed to move it. I'm not saying that's halacha l'maaseh. That's what it did to David HaMelech. Let's see what the Gemara says about that. Shachach arnaki b'chotzer. Oh, a person forgot an arnak, a wallet, a pouch full of money. In the chotzer means that there's no issue of yitzom or shus or shus. It's just an issue of muktzeh sheno. You realize that? We see many times in the parak, also in Daf Kuf base. Whenever we say b'chotzer, trying to say that there's no issue of yitzom or shus or shus because it's inside the shus yochid. It's an issue of muktzeh. Yeah, the guy has an arnicky with, I don't know, $1,000 there and 3 credit cards, and he forgot it in the chotzel. It's a big hefsed. You're allowed to take a kikar, take a cookie, take a very little child, and put it on the muktzeh item, which is the pouch of money, and then carry it wherever you want to a safe place. Please, I hope the shirt doesn't finish now because it's not halacha l'maisa. But that's what the Gemara says now. Amar v'Yitzchak, shochach levena b'chotzer. If I got a brick in the chotzer, brick is muktzeh, whichever way we look at it, it's designated for binyan. You're not using it by itself. It's designated to be part of a boneh. Same thing, allowed to put something of heter, kikar tinok or anything else which is non-muktzeh, and then carry the brick. Amar v'Yidabel Shalom Rabasi. Story, halacha l'maisa, not halacha l'maisa, but a story l'maisa, maisa rav. One time someone forgot mamish a pouch, a big pouch, a sack full of money, a lot of money, besratya in the street. He was in the street, and there was mamish reshus harabim, big time, reshus harabim. So two problems, muktzeh and reshus harabim. What are we going to do? We forgot that pouch with a wad of $1 million. What are going to be? What are we going to do now? The Amar Lehen, he told them two solutions. First of all, you're allowed to take a kikar tinoik, again, a non-muktzeh item, and put it on that wallet and carry. Excuse me. What about the tzomel shus l'shus? Says Rashi, he brings two solutions. I will just concentrate on one of them. You can carry in pshas adchak godol. You can put it pachas medal adamis. Yeah, in other words, you don't get what's his Rishus Rabim. He's not taking Rishus Yochid. In Rishus Rabim, you're not allowed to carry Dal Adamis, right? But if you carry 3.9 Amis, that's not allowed, but it's not a Chiyuv Doraisa. So in such a case of Hefsed, you're allowed to carry less than Dal Adamis, but the main point is you're allowed to take the muktzeh and demuktzify it by placing a non-muktzeh on top. Amar Malzutra, Hilchasak Yechol Anishmaitza B'Shocheach. Says Malzutra, listen, I accept all this shmaitza, all these halachas, in case you forgot. Meaning, if the thing is valuable, says Rashi, yeah, if you dafka place it midas, you, excuse my language, stupidly, unhalachically, you place those expensive things in a dangerous place, in a place where, it's susceptible to theft, what did you think, mister? Then we don't have to accommodate to your foolishness. And therefore, only b'shocheach, you really forgot. Misken, the guy had a very crazy busy afternoon. You know how Friday afternoon is like, and he had 10 children and 3 shviggers. And what? And he's very, very busy, and 10 chonet pots. And what? And now what? Now he forgot. He forgot the wallet. Then, if there's no choice, you're allowed to put the kikar tinok and save the day and save the money. Rav Ashi Omar, on the muktzeh. And that makes the muktzeh non-muktzeh, because the muktzeh becomes tofel to the non-muktzeh.
And how long does the people in Timothy stay?
Until you move it there. Not forever. Until you place it in a safe place, and then you can move them away. Good point. Rav Ashi Omar, afilu shochach, Rav Ashi is halacha, by the way. Rav Ashi Omar, afilu shochach namiloi. Even if you forgot it there, it does not help. Upa. The whole heter, I don't agree with. Upa. Even if you forgot $1 million, yeah, even £1,000,000, it's more, in the wallet, you cannot use the heter of kikar tinok, even if you're a nice guy and you forgot it there. The only heter is lameis. With all due respect, cover the mace, we know, is a very, very chashuv concept. It's very important, and therefore, for cover the mace, such as the case of David the Melch, who else? A brisker over someone. There was somebody who's nifter in Yom Kippur. I think somebody, not now. No, I think the brisker over. I think it was nifter in Yom Kippur. I think somebody told, and they did kikar tinok to him. One of the gedolim of before I was born. The kids are the kikar tinok for mace we allow. For other items that can be worth $10 million, we don't allow it. It's not kula. There are other kulas, by the way. Yeah, what can you do with the wallet? You can kick it, except for Chazonish. The Fidi Mishnah Bura, you have the wallet in a dangerous place. Yeah, you can drop it, the elbow. It's on the floor. Kick it to a very, very safe, secluded place. Maybe you can tell the guy, whatever. That we're going to learn that in the last parak. Abaye. Now we're back to what?
Where's the wallet?
You kick it until it reaches a safe place where it's hidden.
Where was it?
The place where people can steal it. Yeah.
You must have went,
Many places. A gas station.
what?
Where can people steal? I'm happy you're so trusting, but many places, unfortunately. Abaye, anywhere. Abaye, Monach, Kafa. Yeah, yeah. Or Rishus Ra Yochid, but still, some Rishus Yochid is open in the shul. Sorry. Abaye Manach Kafa Kefi. Abaye did use that kula, and he placed a spoon on the sheaves of wheat. Kefi, yeah? There were sheaves of wheat, which he wanted to move away, and he can't move them because those sheaves are what? They're muktzeh. Nobody's going to eat them. They're not cooked. They're not, right? And he placed the spoon on top of it, and he took them away. Rove, monach sakina abaryoina umetatalo. Rava had raw meat, raw dove meat, like fowl, chicken, and he placed a knife on it because it's muktzeh, raw meat. Who eats raw meat in his right mind? Yeah, and he put the knife on that, and he carried. Amar of Yosef. Of Yosef is being. I've never seen an Amoira. Mamash very sarcastic. Amar of Yosef. Kama charifa shmaitza de dardaki. How sharp is the sugya of those youngsters? Says Rashi, Svurim em shem charifim. Those youngsters think that they're smart. That's what he said. Who was Rav Yosef Rabbi and Rove? It was a Rov. It was their teacher. Oh, how smart they think they are. They're using this kula for regular food, for regular items. They're wrong. Ema domu Rabbanan b'shocheach lechatchila mi'omu. Rabbanan only allowed the kikar of a tinok, even if you're not machmir like Ravashi, only by mace. Even if you say it applies to items, it's only allowed for items that are b'shocheach, says Rashi, and expensive items. You forgot a wallet of $1 of credit cards and jewelry, then jewelry is not muktzeh, whatever, of credit cards and checks and this, you can move it to kikar shel tinok, kikar tinok. But stam regular items like your sheaves or your meat, no. Who allows you ever, to move it around? And you didn't forget it. You put it place. You put it there on purpose. Amar Abaye. Abaye and Rava reply to Rav Yosef, and they say, "Ilav dodam choshuv ano." If not for the fact that I'm an Odom Choshuv, meaning that people learn from me, I'm aware of the fact that people learn from my drachim, from my behavior, therefore I'm extra machmir. But if not for my own extra chumrah, kafa kefilamali. Even to put the spoon on the sheaves, I didn't have to. The sheaves, I'm allowed to move them. The sheaves of wheat or barley are so nice, crunchy, and yummy. What can I do? I can lie on them. I can use them as a pillow. So really, they're not muktzeh. People think it's muktzeh, and people see me as gadol ador. I have to be extra careful. So therefore, I'm putting the spoon on top in order to take it out. But really, I didn't have to. It's not muktzeh for me to begin with. That's why I'm doing it. They're like defending themselves against Rav Yosef. Same thing with Rave. I know, if not for the fact that I'm a person people take example from, yeah, I'm a role model for people. I didn't have to put the knife on top of the raw chicken, raw dove, in order to schlep it because I can eat it raw. Says Rashi, some people eat raw meat, raw chicken. People today they have all these crazes. We all eat sushi, carpaccio. So some people eat raw meat, and that's why it's allowed. The fact I'm doing so, basically, I'm allowed to move it without that extra knife. Putting in the knife, so people should realize that the shiloh of muktzeh, and it shouldn't be makel too much. That's already like an extra anhaga that I have to show people that it's not a poshut thing. It's not peaches and cream, and therefore I'm doing it. But mikradin, I'm allowed to move it anyways. I would stop here, Bill Shuschem. I guess you get to go to Marib, so I don't want to be back of you. Thank you very much. Much more bracha in this house. Okay, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you to everybody on Torah Anytime. Such an amazing website.